Good afternoon, Carborough High. I'm here today with my personal chef, Chris Atkins.
Hello.
Chris is my personal chef who comes to my house each day because I'm a teacher in North Carolina and I've got that kind of disposable income. My personal chef, Chris, is English, and I've chosen an English personal chef because the English are world-renowned for their superior culinary skills and haute cuisine. And today, Chris is going to be showing you how to make scones. Note the pronunciation, people. It is not scones. It's not scones. It is scones or
Scones.
all right, let's have a look at what we need to make our scones. We need 8 tablespoons of butter, 2.5 cups of flour, 1/4 cup of sugar, a tablespoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 2/3 a cup of milk. Preheat your oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about 220 degrees Celsius. In this bowl, personal chef Chris is mixing flour, baking powder, and salt. We're not going to show you all of those steps because that would be a little bit boring. Let's be frank. Chris has mixed his flour, baking powder, and salt. Now, this is the important part, working with the butter. We're going to zoom in here and show you how Chris does it. You want to mix this in with a pastry blender or your fingers. Chris, what are you using?
I'm using my fingers.
And you are going to mix until the mixture looks like fine crumbs.
You've got to rub it in, which means you've got to pick it up with the flour and rub it with your fingers. And you've got to do this for a while. So,
How long do you think that will take, Chris?
no idea.
When you usually make this for me, how long does it take?
I don't know, honestly. Sometimes it depends on the butter. It can take 5 minutes, it can take longer. So, you want to get it keep rubbing it until you get it sort of looking a bit like breadcrumbs. It doesn't have to be perfect, but get most of it mixed in there, so okay. Then we're going to add the sugar. Bop. Mix it in.
Hope you've got clean hands, people.
So now we have to add the milk, a little bit at a time, until it comes together as a dough. So this can be a bit messy.
More milk has just been added.
Just do a little bit, because it's not precise, depends on your flour.
Chris continues to knead and mix the mixture.
Just wanted to get it to come together as a dough. So squeeze it a little bit until it starts combining.
Do you want your mixture to be wet?
No, it needs to be quite dry, so that's why you keep adding it just a little bit at a time until it comes together. If you put in all the milk at once, you might end up with too wet a dough and it can become very messy. Then you'll have to add flour to make it dry again.
Chris has nearly finished working with the dough.
So you just got it until it's coming pretty clean, okay? Now once it's got it clean, just put a little bit of flour on whatever you're using to roll it out on, just so it doesn't stick too much.
Put flour on your surface.
Now we're just going to pat it down. You can roll it, but to be honest, you can just pat it, making sure it doesn't get too many cracks in it.
We're actually going to roll it. So we put a bit of flour onto the rolling pin.
You don't want to make it too thin, like this sort of thickness.
How thick is that, Chris?
1/2 to 3/4 of an inch, something like that. Okay. Now, just trying to make sure there's no cracks in it.
We don't want cracks. That looks pretty crack-free.
That's good enough, I think. All right, so now you either cut it into shapes.
What are we going to do? Are we going to cut or are we simply going to tear apart?
Oh no, we're definitely going to cut, and we're going to go for triangles.
Ooh, triangles, a bit of math in there. How many angles will that be?
We're going to try to make 8.
8 angles in a triangle?
No. 8 triangle shapes.
Oh, out of the entire dough mixture. I've got you.
Okay, and then, simply enough, we then transfer these to my baking sheet, which I'm just going to put a little bit
Look
of...
at that, magic. A baking sheet that moves by itself. Butter your baking sheet just to make sure that the scones don't stick. You can obviously use cooking spray
Or oil.
or oil if you prefer, or if you're sure that your tray is definitely non-stick, then you don't have to add the extra lubrication. Transfer those onto the cookie sheet.
Okay, so we've got them cut out and put on there. You can, if you've got any milk left, just brush the top with it. It makes it a little bit more golden brown when they cook. They're pretty fast cooking. They only take 12, maybe 15 minutes at most.
You'll know when you see them getting a bit brown on top.
Yeah, and you don't want to overcook them because who wants burnt scones?
And you definitely do not want to add parsley stems to them. Parsley stems in scones are not good.
You could add anything else, chocolate chips, raisins, bits of fruit, whatever you like. Okay, they're ready to go. Into the oven they go for 12 minutes. Okay, so that's 12, actually nearly 13 minutes, and here they come. And this is what they look like now. Here they are. They just need to cool. And they're not sticking, which is good. And they're cooked on the bottoms. Yeah, there we go. Scones are good. Well, obviously you can eat the scones just as they are, but in England we often put something on them. Some people put butter, which is butter on top of butter, very healthy. But where I come from, down in the southwest of England, a traditional thing is called a cream tea. And that involves a scone, some whipped cream, and jam, or as you guys call it, jelly. Put those together with a nice cup of tea, eat that, and I'm sure you won't have a heart attack too soon.
Just cutting my scone so that I can enjoy my afternoon tea. And as mentioned, we can be a little bit unhealthy. So I'm going to put butter on it, and then I'm going to put jam on it. Now, if I were having guests over, I would put the jam in nice separate containers. I wouldn't leave them in the jar like I'm doing for you. But as your students and it's Corona, I hope that you're not judging me with those same high standards. Now, enjoy your scone.